Once again, you're rocking that blue suit. I always love that you rock suits in your TikToks and your Instagrams. It's like one of the best. Like I feel like the message that you're portraying always matches the exact outfit that you're wearing. And I think that's always great, especially in all your TikToks. But today's guest, Mr. Kameron Devon Crew. He is a dating coach. He is a lifestyle expert, and he's just a lifestyle coach in general. My man, Mr. Kameron, how you doing? Live from Texas.
Man, I appreciate you having me on, Danny. Thank you so much. It's a good day to drop some game. I'm in Texas now that I have a family and a 2-year-old son. So we had to move towards.
Congrats.
Man, thank you so much. It's one of the best feelings I've ever had, having a boy that looks like me nonetheless, but just watching him grow, watching him learn, playing with him, and knowing I have my progeny out here in the world that I'm taking care of is an amazing feeling. But we moved here from Las Vegas, where I was for 7 years.
Which I love the videos of that backdrop of Vegas when you were doing those videos were so pimp, bro.
It's the throwback, man. I was a young, player. You know what I mean?
Yeah, young, like 2 years ago.
yeah. Well, that was before my family. Now, 2 years ago, I was still in my relationship, but before that, I moved out to Vegas in my early 20s, and I was super well connected. I had 2 cousins who worked for the clubs on the Strip. So you have like Hakkasan Group converted to Tao Group. That's right. So I'm out there. I'm 23, 24 years old, working a corporate job, 75,000 to 90 to 6 figures, pretty early in my 20s. Beautiful. And then having free access to tables at clubs, lounges, sometimes comp dinners, the pool parties. I did what anybody would do in that situation. And
You killed it.
Yeah, I had a mentor who really taught me the game and schooled me on social skills and confidence and really led me into coming into my own, right? And I took that and I applied it to the environment and had a crazy lifestyle, man. I have some wild stories. Maybe we'll get into some, maybe not. But
of course. You feel free to tell me what you want or what you don't want. But the one thing that I know about Vegas is it's a party, and in order to party, you need those social skills. You need that confidence, and that is what totally attracted your videos to me. Because at one point when I first started TikTok was about 2021, and I was going through a really, really bad breakup. It was a total, I was anxious attachment. She was, avoidant, your typical, she wouldn't text me back and I would be the one initiating basically everything that you advise your clients not to do, especially in a breakup time. And of course I did the whole obsession and the whole maybe she'll take me back. Maybe she'll take me back. And literally it was one video that I saw by you. And that's one thing I think about TikTok is I feel like TikTok knows how you're feeling that day and it sends you videos and you came into my universe in that time. And I would love to play that video for you right now if we can, because this is what I feel like I have to get out to anyone who's watching on my side to see what was the very first video that I saw. So I'm going to play it right here for you right now.
Okay.
Oh, Seb, I think it's that guy Cam. Hey, yo, Cam.
What's going on, bro?
Hey, man, you got a second?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Love the Las Vegas backdrop.
All right. First of all, come right over here, man.
All right.
It's too many people.
And this is another thing I love that you did. You had the confidence.
What's your name, man?
Yeah, man, my name's Jeff.
Jeff, nice to meet you. Kameron Devon Crew. What question do you have?
Yeah, man, so I've been watching your content for like a really long time now.
All right.
I actually told myself I really want to get solid at the game. But one thing I've noticed is, you always you have perfect posture when you walk. You always dress nice. You seem to have like really good self-confidence, really good image about yourself. I'm trying to figure out how do I get to this level.
First of all, thank you very much for that compliment. And kudos to you for taking yourself seriously enough to watch some content that you found inspirational and then really try to apply it. I respect that, bro. A lot of people sit inside this place where they're in the matrix and they see a way out, but they never follow it, man. So it takes a lot of guts.
Pause it right there. Pause it right there.
You should put that into your confidence bank.
Perfect. Yes, sir.
So that is a big point. Keep it up, but that is a big point.
Yeah.
So many men are in a situation they don't want to leave. I mean, they want to leave, but they're not leaving. and they're stuck mentally. They're mentally imprisoned, and they know that there's a better way out. Maybe even you see some content that inspires you, right? So I want to ask real quick, for you leaving that relationship and seeing that video, for example, or whatever you saw, what actually in you made you actually take that step to make a change for yourself? Because a lot of men need to hear that.
Yeah. So when I think it's like maybe like a minute into the video, what you start talking about the confidence, and you start talking
Mhm.
about how you have to feel good in order for people to feel good, to talk to you, to respond to you. And you get to that point in a little bit in this video, but that was what caught me, because I always thought, oh yeah, I could always portray that, oh, I'm smiling, I'm talkative and stuff. But inside at that time, especially during that breakup, I was so insecure in myself. I
Right.
could not look in the mirror, and especially because I was drinking a lot, because that was my coping mechanism, very unhealthy. And for what you say later on in this TikTok, when you say like you have to elude that confidence, you have to know your worth, and know that that worth is going to attract the women, not that you're just going to go out there and say, like the one liner and stuff like that.
So you recognize you needed a change.
Yes, big time.
Yeah, interesting. A lot of men need to have the confidence to actually believe in themselves that they can make the change. But okay, anyway, go ahead.
Yes, and I'm gonna play a little bit of that video. Is that cool?
Oh no, keep going. Yeah.
All right. So the first thing that you have to do, if you want to carry yourself better and have an overall aura of confidence, charisma, and if you want to master and be good at the game, you have to know who you are, and you have to know what the fuck you bring to the table. A lot of men today don't know.
Like I almost memorized this video.
What I mean by that is, they're in life now, they're in their mid to young 20s, maybe even later 20s, and they're like, I just want a woman who wants to be with me. Only a weak man who thinks lowly of himself would think like that. A man who knows who he is and knows his value would understand that a woman would be blessed to have you be a part of her life, because that would upgrade her life. That would be a value add and an asset to the woman. Does that make sense?
Pause it right there.
How
Pause
do
it
you
right
do
there.
that? The way you do it.
I want to drop a gem. I want to pause at different points and just drop gems, right?
Yeah, of
And
course.
elaborate a
You
little
tell
more.
me when.
Yeah.
You are the
Yeah.
director.
So-
I am just but the
Yeah.
button pusher.
So in the in these TikToks, I make statements, but I can't explain for time constraint. But
Of
here,
course.
I love that you brought me on because I can really
Yes.
explain what I meant by that. And that is the truth. So when I bring a student in my program, the first thing we look at is I give you 3 journals. All right, day 1. The first journal is, what is my ideal self and value as a man? And I can tell you this, I have millionaires and I have guys who work, let's say, in HVAC, okay?
Mhm.
None of them know their value as a man. A lot of people have been fooled by the money muscles mindset red pill community, that if you just have money or
Unfortunately.
something like that, that women will come to you. And they may come, but not in the way that we want them to come in the game, right? So
Mhm.
what I teach men to do is actually build what I call core confidence. And that is rooted in the journal. I break down what's my ideal value as a man, okay? Character, worldviews, values, and beliefs. So it's really about you. When you look at yourself, what makes you feel valuable as a man? Now, if I ask you that question, or most people that question, they're going to go, my career, my education, my home. They're going to list externalities, things that have really nothing to do with who
It's the
you are.
material stuff that people list sometimes.
It's that. Yeah. And that's all good, and you should have those things. But what makes you you is what led you to being able to get those things. So it is your discipline. It is your character, your morality. It is the things that you believe in, your spirituality, these kind of things that make you internally. And I try to get guys to focus more on that, because here's the deal. If a recession happens, which we're in, and let's say that your company lays you off because they're behind, does that mean that you're less of the person that you were? No, it does not. If a woman leaves you, does that mean that you're less of a man? Not necessarily. what makes you who you are is who you are internally, the person that's going to carry you through all the ups and downs. And I try to get men to ground themselves in that, because I don't want you to be in a situation to where something can happen outside that's going to make you feel lesser of a man and less attractive and have less affinity for people. I want you to believe in yourself and look highly upon yourself and think highly upon yourself so that you can radiate that energy. And in the video, I'm walking kind of brash on purpose, and I'm trying to show guys like, look, man, I think highly of myself and I don't give a damn. And I think I look pretty fucking good in that video on a side note.
You do very clean shaven, no homo. I could respect when a dude, I got a skincare routine myself. I actually talked about that in one of the last podcasts. Like that. That's since I was a teenager. But that's the thing too, is you could spit all the game you want, but if you gotta look good. Even a guy like Biggie Smalls, we all know the rapper. Everyone that's around his circles would always say, man, he could pick up girls. But you saw him in his music videos, you saw him in even interviews. He was always dressed to the nines. He wasn't going out there in a t-shirt, 100%. And it's that external energy that you give when you just the way you're dressed, and all your videos, like we mentioned earlier, like you're always dressed to the nines, which matches exactly the energy that you're giving out. And that's 100%. sometimes, if you're at a bar and you meet a cute girl, but you're wearing a Minecraft t-shirt, you're not going to be giving off that type of message, right?
Man, 100%. One of my rules in the game is dress like a player every day, because what it communicates is self-love. It's not for the woman. Like some people think, oh, that's try hard. No, it's not try hard. I'll put a suit on and go to Whole Foods, bro, and pick up some groceries and go home. Because that's just me. That's how I feel about myself.
No,
you know what I mean?
And that is something I've embraced I would probably even say within like the last year or so, where I there's something about wearing a suit that even just gives you that little bit more of confidence. Because I was always that guy. I was always insecure in myself. And that is always going to be, you're going to see it's going to be a common token in most of my mindsets. But what it is, I don't want to be too dressed up, or I don't want to think people I'm a show off. And I know that a lot of dudes think that way too. Why wear a suit to a dive bar in Lowell, Massachusetts? Why wear, why? It's always been, and it's funny too, because my boys would always make fun of me, and I hope they're watching for this side part, but I was that t-shirt and silver chain guy up until 3 years ago. Literally wore that same chain at 16 because I'm like, oh, it makes me feel good, it makes my head look smaller, when in reality it wasn't a good look. As simple as that. It was not a good look, and my friends were giving me so much ish for so long. But no, from your standpoint, even from a psychology standpoint, it's that and a lot of dating coaches hate this, but it's always like that, almost that peacocking a little bit.
Sure, man. And I'll say this, man, this is the truth. I tell students to get in my program, and I'll instruct them on how to dress, to present yourself the right way. And they're like, oh, that's not really me. I understand what they're saying, because I felt that way too. But what it really is this: you don't feel like you deserve to look that way. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of men feel that way. Like, I don't feel worthy of stepping out looking fly, catching attention, dressing better than other people. But you do. But you got to build your self-esteem and your self-image to that point. And if people don't acknowledge it, that's okay, because it's not about them anyway. It's about you and how you carry yourself.
Yes. And it also, I really want to think, and I think you say it on in this video, is where you need the confidence to dress nice. Because if you're dressed nice but you don't feel confident, you're gonna be like, well, I'm too overdressed. Oh, this jacket doesn't fit me. Oh, this, that, and the other. Oh, this button, maybe I should button this button. It's that insecurity. It always boils down to what you feel about yourself. And this is where I think this part of the video now is where you say this. I'm gonna just play this little snippet.
Is you gotta look in the mirror, maybe even do a journal exercise, and ask yourself, what kind of man am I? So I recommend getting a literal piece of paper and pen, like it's the old days, and say, what kind of man am I? What's my worldview? What is my character? What's my personality? What are my behavior patterns? And where am I going in life? And on a side note, you need to know everything that you've ever been through that's led you to this point right now. Because no one knows you better than you, bro. You've had people help you in life. You've had probably different relationship partners, Your parents played a role. You've had friends. You've maybe had mentors and other parental figures. But you are the common denominator to every failure and every transcendence into success that's brought you to where you are right now in Vegas in front of me asking me this question. So when you know what you have that you're equipped with that has led you to where you are now, then that means you don't need anybody but yourself to go another step forward. All you need is to know who you are, believe in that, and then have faith and go forward with no fear, man. So.
And then right here, I want to pause it here because I want to get your take on it, especially when I think you get to the like my favorite part in a second. That looking in the mirror, right? Like that is like so key, isn't it?
Man, you know, I teach everybody mirror affirmations. It's called mirror affirmations.
Okay.
You get in the mirror, go in your restroom after you wake up in the morning. All right, after you shower, throw on something fly. Set a timer for 5 minutes. This is hard to do. And you look at your own eyes in the mirror and you speak positivity, prosperity, peace, and abundance upon yourself. I love myself. I'm handsome. I'm fly. My future is coming towards me. God is on my side. I love my height. I love the sound of my voice. Women are attracted to me. You know, and what'll happen is when you're looking in your own eyes, it's the same thing as a woman looking into your eyes. And what I mean is, when you look in your own eyes at first, you're going to call your own bluff because you're going to say things that you don't feel. And that's okay. But you have to learn how to change the thought patterns that you have. Because check this out. The way a person feels about themselves is not based on their external reality. It is not your home, your car, your title, your career, your education. It's not that. It's really not. It's what you think. A belief is a thought that you think a lot. So how do you change a belief? You change it by changing how you think on a daily basis, right? So what's going to feel awkward at first will become a habit. You're going to ingrain this. You're going to brainwash yourself into thinking these positive, empowering things about yourself. And it will transform your life because you will escape this purgatory of ruminating on these negative thoughts. Let's be real. When you're in a lower place, you know what I'm talking about. Negative self-talk, man, is a bitch. Sorry,
big time. No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, negative self-talk, man, will lower your energy. It'll make you feel down. It makes your outlook gloom. It's hard to get up in the morning and feel smooth and charismatic and enthusiastic when you're beating yourself up in your subconscious mind. So we change that by having daily habits, routines, and practices in place that make you look at yourself differently, think differently, and visualize differently.
Yeah, it's like the when you describe it, and I sometimes maybe wish you did have a mental health psychology degree, because you read that in self-help book, you read that in psychology books. I've had my own shrink tell me that like, you know, going back to that 2020-21 relationship, very, you know, very me give, she take. One of the biggest things that I would do every single day is, why doesn't she like me? Why am I such a POS? Why do I smell? Why am I fat? Why am I short? And especially when she started dating another guy, you know, while I thought I was still in that, like, all I did was just compare myself to this guy I didn't even know. I couldn't, I literally, I mean, I'll be honest with you right here. I even tried to stalk and see if I could find him on Facebook just to see who's this guy that gets to sleep next to the girl that I did for like a hot sec, you know. And that was just destroying me from the inside, along with my Legend of Zelda t-shirt and my silver chain, you know. So there was a lot to change when I first watched this video, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, the coach in me almost wants to like psychoanalyze, and I've studied psychology for like 10 years, but
great,
it makes me want to psychoanalyze. Yeah, 100%. It makes me want to almost dig into that. You know what I mean? But you know, maybe we'll get to it.
And I am an open book when it comes to that. Let's see if
if you're open to it, dude. Like, or we can go with the video. But if you're open to it, man, I can take you down a rabbit hole.
All right, let's do it. But we'll definitely with that. Let's finish this video. I want to get this
I
because
bet.
this is the best part, and I
Yeah, yeah.
want to get your personal
I
reaction
have
to
a favorite part of the video too. I wonder if it's the same part. But go ahead.
yeah, okay, cool. It's
The
the
way you
cocky
carry
part, which-
yourself, and that's the mindset, right? You got to know who you are. But the tactics, you got to carry yourself proper. So when you stand, chin parallel to the ground, roll your shoulders back, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and stand up tall. Reach the crown of your head up to the ceiling, wherever you're at. Keep your hips square, keep your feet pointing where you're walking at, keep your eyes laser like where you're going. So when I stand this way, I'm walking straight ahead, and I have a supreme.
Quick tidbit: I started doing that at work. Boom, and that was such a change because I was always
It makes a
the look
difference.
down. I was always the look down and look at my own shoes guy because I didn't want to talk to anybody. So that, perfect.
Confidence on the outside and the inside. But when I'm walking in a straight path, people are like, that man looks like he knows where he's going, and I fucking do, bitch. So you gotta walk like that, bro. When you walk,
That was my favorite part.
arm swing
Okay,
and
see,
a
okay.
control.
I need you to elaborate on that because that is, I think
You know what it is? Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No. It's hard for a guy to be confident or cocky because he doesn't want to be that show off. Like,
Yeah.
where is your mindset there? What is like your like? How do you get past that?
I know what you mean. It goes back almost to why guys don't want to dress up. And you've been told, probably by your parents, in school, not you, but I mean people,
Yeah,
and
perfect.
society, hey, be humble, be modest, all this. Man, God didn't make you that way. God said you have a light that shines brighter than anything in the universe. And you should walk like that. Like you actually were created. You have a unique genome, a genetic structure that will never be replicated in history. You understand how spectacular and miraculous that is. But for you to walk around with your head down, not feeling good about yourself, is a disservice to God, your parents, your ancestors, everything that fed into creating you. So you should walk around happy, feeling grateful, abundant, peaceful, prosperous, full of energy. And yeah,
Mhm.
oh, you look cocky. Bitch, I am cocky.
I am. I
You know
love
what I
that.
mean?
That's my favorite part right there because
Yeah.
I think that is one of my like I felt like you were talking to me because I feel that way. Like, if I'm walking, let's say at work, perfect example. I'm walking at work, I'm in the hospital, I'm a respiratory therapist, and I'm walking and I see someone that I know, and I'm like, oh F. And I'll look down, I'll like look at it was so bad. And between your videos and then just my own psychological like I go to a shrink and all that, and then getting sober, literally getting sober too was like the
Yeah.
boost up with the confidence because
Yeah.
now I could look
Yeah.
up because it's almost that they call it the subconscious. Like I was subconsciously hiding my personality of coming home and drinking 30 beers by myself, and then that was a key component. And sometimes I feel like that's not, I'm not saying every dude out there that drinks is an alcoholic, not at all, not like me, but there is that kind of almost shame. It's like, oh, I'm going home to a 1-bedroom apartment, I'm playing PlayStation and having a couple of beers or hitting the bong or something like that. Like there is like almost a little bit of that self shame that blows into you subconsciously, and then externally you're not looking up, you're looking at your shoes, you don't want to say hello to that person. And that was one of my biggest problems, especially in that 2021-22.
It sounds like you developed self-respect. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you this, there's something, I had a group call with my group last week, and the topic was unconditional self-love. And men are not taught this. Women understand this. Men don't. We're taught you're not worth shit unless you have a thriving career, money, the house, the car, the clothes, all the jewelry, whatever. No. You have value because you were born. There is value in you. Otherwise, God would not have put you here. So unconditional self-love, I think you actually had it because you were in that place. And I've been in places too, man. You know what I'm saying? So I don't judge anybody because I've been in some real rock bottom low places. So I can talk about it or not. But regardless, when you love yourself unconditionally, you go, okay, maybe I am doing this, or maybe this is happening to me, but I still care about my well-being and my future. And I'm going to make a change out of self-respect that's going to take me on a path upward. And it only self-love can do that. So even if you're down, maybe people are looking at you, maybe objectively you are in a shitty place. But do you love yourself enough to get yourself out of that place? That's what I try to get guys to always remember, man. Like, because you can do everything right, even, you know what I'm saying? Career, taking care of your wife, kids, being a good man. Maybe she has the slut bug and she wants to step
Oh,
out and,
geez, yes,
you know,
I
you know what I
know,
mean?
and you
And
hear about that.
unfortunately, it can happen, man. Like, it really
And
happens.
and
I
and
have,
and and that and that's one of the things that I'll see it obviously with my own algorithm. I'll get these videos of like the toxic women, toxic men, yada yada.
right.
But one of the big things is always like the girl stopped being dropped the libido, stopped being sexually attracted to the partner of like 20 years that they have like 2 kids with, because the guy stopped paying her attention like he used to. It's like I come home and I just want to have a dinner set. It's no more, hey sweetie, oh my god, you look great. 20 years later, it's not like that. And then they step out and it's like, how do you like not a question, but more of like a statement of like, damn, that's what scares me about marriage, or even 20
Yeah.
years of, that is, it's the stepping out. It's like, how do you gauge that,
That's a reality. So here's the truth. And I say it a little differently. Okay.
Okay.
I have a saying that I made up. So one of my sayings, I have 10 player rules. And I think the third one is there's nothing that you can say or do to make a woman like you. To dive into that a little bit. What I'm really trying to say is in the beginning stages, a lot of guys think buy you a drink, take you on a date, court you, be a gentleman, be chivalrous. All these things will make a woman have chemistry or some affinity towards you, right? To want to be with you. And that's untrue, number one. Now, it gets even deeper in a relationship. If it's your girlfriend or your wife, you got to understand, and this is why like guys have a really hard time with this. You have to understand if a woman wants to be with you, it is her choice. So one of the things in the game is also choose a woman who chooses you,
Yes.
because there's nothing you can do to make her choose you. And now guys don't understand that has to take place, meaning coming from her, the choose, over the whole marriage. So unfortunately, unfortunately, a woman may be with you. And at some point, if her emotions change or if her ideology changes, she may not want to be with you anymore. And there's little to nothing you can do about that. You can do therapy and all that. But if
Yeah.
she doesn't want to work on the relationship, what can you really do? What are you going to do? Hold her hostage? You can't really
Yeah,
do that.
right.
You know
It's
what I
not
mean?
like my parents' generation. I know I'm probably older than you, but my parents' generation, born in the 40s, my father passed away now, but they were stayed married because of the kids, and that I feel like in our generation that
It's
has
gone.
died away. Yeah, that's
It's
not
gone.
true anymore.
That's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, if you're not happy, girl, go out, girl power,
Yeah.
slay, you get all that dumb
Well, and
shit.
it's also the social media. It's also the social media to it. I think
That's
that
what I mean.
that kind
Yeah.
of that's what makes it easy, because like a girl that's maybe like or a guy. I can't just leave it on the sexes. Boy or girl. They'll see a video and they're upset in their own relationship, like, oh, maybe I should be like him, or maybe like the options are like are thrown out there, and especially with these algorithms,
Yeah.
and you get stuck in that echo chamber, and then it's like do you think that whether it be in a long-term boyfriend girlfriend relationship or a marriage, do you think that putting that person first every time, and almost kind of quote unquote simping out, putting them on a pedestal, do you think that could be a part of the or could be a great part of the pie chart when it comes to that unattractiveness, that loss of libido in a long-term relationship?
There's so many things, man. The first thing that I will say is another rule in the game is if you want to leave, I'm gonna let you. So if you're in
Oh,
the
yes,
dating
yes, yes,
phase,
yes.
if you're in a committed relationship, or if you're married, you got to understand you don't own the person. And in today's world, there's no societal values that make people feel like is just stay in the family, right? So that's okay. The thing that gives you freedom and peace of mind as a man is you have to have the game. Most men get distraught because truthfully, they don't believe that they could replace the woman or experience happiness in their love
And that's
life.
loss of
If this
self-worth, your own self-worth.
that yeah, if this relationship ends, I'm going to be lonely. But you don't want to make choices from a place of scarcity and powerlessness, right? Now, I'm
Mhm.
not saying you should run around and do degenerate things, but if your partner doesn't want to be with you truthfully, well, you just, hey, listen, if you want to leave, I'll let you. I'll even help you out the door. If that's really what you want in your heart, because if you're equipped with the right tools and the right self-development and the right game to go out and meet another woman, maybe, and there's another saying, you never downscale because the next woman always gets better because you learn as a man, right? If you have the
Mhm.
game and you learn from your experience, the next situation you end up in is always better. And that is true, like 100%. So to eradicate fear, man, just realize she might leave you. She probably won't. She might leave you. If she does, you got to let her exercise her free will. But what you need to do is take care of you and move forward in your direction. If you have kids, if you don't mind me going on a tangent, man, this is big.
No, go right ahead. Go right ahead. It's your show.
What I've seen, what I've seen over 10 years of coaching, okay, is a lot of men, they want to be the good guy. They want to be a good man, which is great. And they want, when they have a woman they have a child with, whether it's in marriage or out of marriage, and it starts getting rocky, what they try to do is they try really hard to hold on to the family because they don't want a broken home, which I respect. I would do that,
Yes.
or I would feel that way too. But what you got to understand in a lot of situations, when a woman is checked out of the relationship, she typically puts herself first. I don't want to generalize, but it's the truth. Women are selfish. Even if it be better for the kid for y'all to stay together, a lot of times women will do what they want to do.
Yes.
Having said that, as a man, if your marriage or your relationship is ending and you have a child, man, listen, go to the court. The court is not against you, like a lot of people say.
Yeah, and everyone thinks that, or TikTok
Yeah,
will tell you that that's the case.
the red pill and all that.
Of
Man, go
course,
to the
of
court,
course.
document everything that's happened, establish your custody rights, get on child support, whatever. It's cheaper than taking care of a woman anyway. Get on get on child support. um, um, get your custody, get your joint or primary custody if you can, and take care of your kid, man, and focus on that. But trying to change a woman, this is so fucking deep. Trying to change a woman who doesn't even care enough to keep her family together. Think about that. Like she's willing to break up her family. If you think you're gonna flip that, bro, you're wrong. You need to go to the court, handle your business, get your kids in your life, and do it that way. You know what I mean? And let her do what she wants to do.
Yes.
And that's some advice I give to a lot of guys. But yeah, don't be afraid, man. Women might leave, but have the game, understand your value as a man increases over time because your wisdom and your experience enables you to be more high value over time. And bro, there's never any reason to sweat what's behind you. If you look behind too much, you might trip moving forward. You know what I mean? So I would say move forward and just keep fucking.
I love that trip
Man, I'm
moving
sorry.
forward. That's a great
Yeah.
line. No, don't be sorry. That is some of the most excellent advice I've ever had. And it reminds me, I remember it like now this is going even deeper into mine, like 2009, 2011. I had a relationship, great relationship, lived together 3 years. It wound up, she needed to move away, all that. It's fine. Like the breakup was almost amicable, which is nuts to hear, but I was so obsessed with her to the point where I became a pseudo boyfriend. And my friends called me out on it all the time. They're like, dude, you're talking to her, you're listening to her bitch about her new boyfriend, and you're sitting there and just taking it. And I'm like, well, I miss her and all that. They're like, dude, that's not good for you. And this is before I started doing like psychology stuff and all that. And I look back on that now and saying exactly what you just said, like losing your own self-worth and thinking that you could get her back. That becomes almost poisonous, right?
Yeah. I almost want to ask you this, man, if you don't mind. When
Yeah, of
when you
course.
got into that relationship, how did you meet her? Okay, and then what would you say made her want to be with you?
Time it started off kind of like we walk home from work because we lived near each other, and it kind of just blossomed from there. I felt like she, like not putting tooting my own horn, but she was a very, very good looking girl. And another thing that was great about it, she was taller than me, and I always think that that sometimes can be a coup for a guy that stands at 5'6". But having a great looking girl who was taller, and she would get the attention, and I just think that I brought a different attention because at first, not gonna lie, I didn't think I was gonna get with her. She was quote unquote too hot for me. I was in that mindset of scarcity, like, oh, I'll never get her. And I think that is what worked to my advantage because I wasn't like every typical dude that was going up to her because she was, she made friends. She would go out, or she would go out with other coworkers, and they would be on top of her, like, and she told me this later on.
Okay.
And but it was almost the difference of me being like, well, I'm not gonna get with her, so I'm just gonna treat her like I would treat any other girl.
Okay, so basically you weren't thirsty.
Yes.
So she
Boom.
so she was
Yeah. Wow. That was
intrigued,
a great
like,
translation. Yes.
yeah. So she was like, why doesn't he want me? Kind of thing.
I think so. I think so. I think
Now,
that's what
now,
yeah.
now, to make it short, what do you think happened in the relationship to make her want to leave?
It's very advanced here. The medicine, whether it's Harvard University, Tufts University, it's a lot of medical schools, a lot of students, a lot of research going on. So she had an in to come here, so she did. She wanted me to move out there with her, and I said no because at first I was
Uh,
thinking about it, but then I was like the moving and like my family's here, her family's there, and it was like I said, it was almost like a mutual breakup.
mm,
However,
mm,
I was the one in the end that was that like that let I want to say those 3 years were perfect, and there's no doubt about it. However, not perfect. You always have the fights and you're living with each other, but the
yeah,
the breakup was amicable. Like it wasn't like she wanted to go away. She wanted me to go out there with her, and I chose not to. And then obviously you get the resentments and all that. And I can't believe you didn't. And in the end, that's what happened. But yeah, everything was good. Everything was perfect. And I, like obviously I'm not gonna sit here and like talk about a relationship from like 12 years ago and be, oh, I'm still in love because obviously I'm not. It was definitely that scarcity in the end when I was like, when she went away and I was like, I'll never get a girl like that ever again. She was so
right,
hot. She
right,
was
right.
this. And then I think that literally was the denouement, as they say in music, to the drinking and not having any self-worth and thinking that, I'm never gonna get a girl like that. And that plagued me for a while, for a long, long time.
And like what I teach guys is like what it boils down to is understanding your actual value as a man. And I don't mean like hyping yourself up. I mean
Mm.
in a normal relationship with a woman, especially if you create a family, right? You're going to be the provider, the protector. Okay, so the value you provide is literally the lifeline of the family and the woman. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
So,
mhm,
and I hate to say this because it sounds bad, but the more important person in the relationship is the man, because
mhm.
without the man, the household cannot survive, right? Unless you're going to be a full-time working single mother and somehow pull that off, which you can't.
Not by yourself
That's why
anymore. And if yeah, for anyone.
that's why child support exists.
Yes,
So
exactly.
if you're a man with a woman, it's just valuing the fact that, hey, listen, I'm taking care of this house, and your looks are nice. Your looks turn me on. Your looks keep me attractive, but your looks don't pay the bills unless we're talking about some other things. You know what I mean? But your looks don't pay the bills. I'm the one taking care of y'all. You need to value me and respect me accordingly to what I'm doing. And that's what I get guys to try to understand. Man, a woman being a 10 and you being one of my students, for example, 5'6", he's a Ecuadorian
Mhm.
software engineer, makes good money. Smaller guy in general, but like he feels that same anxiety with, and he's in LA, right? So pretty
Yep.
women.
Yeah,
And
everyone's
I'm
at
like,
a
I'm, I'm
12
like,
over
I'm
there.
like, but yeah, but I'm like, bro, like, but still you have something they're not bringing to the table just by the nature of who you are. And if you actually internalize that, then the way that you interact with them is going to influence the way that they react back to you. That's the mental shift men have to make.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
'Cause there's no dude that's going and laying up with a chick getting taken care of. It's not a real thing.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Unless you're like those different circumstances, and you can watch hood reels on Instagram all day for those.
Yeah.
But the essentials of that, in any relationship, because it even boils down to, baby, what are we having for dinner tonight? Like they ask you, and you're the decision maker
Exactly.
right there, and that is obviously a very small boiling point to the even bigger pot of pasta that we're talking about in a marriage relationship, right?
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah. And then this is where I want to introduce this video, because this video was very successful for you on Instagram. I want to show you this one.
What's going on, bro?
Hey, yo, man, you the guy from TikTok?
Oh, yes, I am, man.
Yo, man, I got like a question, man. You got a second?
Absolutely. Step right here.
I appreciate this.
What's your name, bro?
Yeah, man, my name is Justin.
Justin. Nice to meet you, Kameron, Devon crew. What question do you have?
All right, man. So I've been watching your videos. Your last video I watched where it says like, go meet women. Talk to women in the gym. Go lounges, talk to them. Go
Meet women in person.
Yeah, like grocery store stuff like that. And I've been doing that for a while now. Maybe like 4 weeks, maybe 2 months.
All right. How's it going?
It's not really going like on fire. When I do this, these girls seem like really uncomfortable. So I'm trying to like, am I like doing something wrong? Or how do I make these girls feel comfortable?
All right. So when you said the girls feel uncomfortable, like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, they're just like, so, when I go over and talk to them, they kind of just give this like really defensive stance.
They seem awkward.
Yeah.
All right.
It seems off.
I understand that, Blade. I understand. And look, first of all, congratulations to you for actually going out here and trying to apply the game. A lot of men stay in their mama's basement playing video games, and they never go out here and try to meet women. You know what I'm saying?
Can I pause?
So you got to give
pause
yourself
right there?
a compliment and give yourself
Yes, of
confidence.
course.
Man, again, I already made this point earlier, but I say that a lot because it is so crucial. Like, guys never take the action of getting started. I just want to hammer that in for listeners. If you're in a situation where you're leaving a marriage, a relationship, or if you've been isolated due to working a lot, man, start. The game is real. You can get results, but you have to start on anything, self-development, the gym, campaigning, meeting women, whatever. But start, man. Like, when you start and get on a path, the rest is easy. The hardest part is starting. Just want to say that.
Yeah, no, and it is so true, because it's putting yourself out there, and putting yourself out there, whether it's approaching a girl in the bar or at the lounge or joining a jiu-jitsu tournament and getting your head ripped off. You're putting yourself out
100%.
there, and it's a display, and I think that is one of the just confidence in general, and this
That you're actually pursuing what you want. That's very important. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you go out here and campaign to women, the way they're going to react to you mostly has to do with your vibe. All right. So a lot of guys ask me, hey, Cam, how can I meet a woman and what can I say to make her like me? I can't give you magic words like I'm David Blaine or Chris Angel. That's going to make the woman magically want to be with you and follow you into the night. You have to have a good vibe. You have to have good energy, and you have to know who you are. So when you go up to the woman, wherever she is, whether it be Whole Foods, Barnes & Nobles, or this lounge behind me, you have to go and say, hi, my name is Justin. I thought you looked attractive, and I wanted to say hi to you. And you have to smile, bro. My number one tip is smile when you approach. When you smile, it sub-communicates that everything is okay. It communicates that you're happy, you're in a good mood, and things are good with you. If you go up and you have rigidity or tension in the cheeks, like, hi, my name is Justin, that's going to make the woman feel awkward. You understand what I'm saying? If you seem awkward, she's going to be like, oh, there's something going on with this guy that's not quite right. And she's going to question you. So first of all, when you go up and approach, you have to have a smile on your face and give the woman a compliment. Let her know your intention for being there. And a lot of guys feel like they have to have a reason to approach. To me, that's weird. I'm a man, you're a man. I like beautiful women, and the woman knows that you're walking up to her because she's attractive. So if you say anything other than the fact that you're approaching her because she looks good to you and she caught your eye, she's gonna catch that lie and think you're kind of weird because of that. So I go up, I say, hi, my name is Cameron. I thought your dress looked really nice and I thought you looked pretty. I just had to say hi real quick. What's your name, sweetheart? Oh, my name is Jessica. Now, after that moment, the reason it could get awkward is because you want the interaction to go well. I never want the interaction to go well. All I do is go up and express my intention. If the woman likes me, then she will reciprocate that same energy back to me. If she does, good. I'll keep talking to her. But if not, I'm totally
okay right there, because this is where we go back to that whole simp kind of thing. Because if you go up to her, like you just said in that video, you go to her, oh, you're hot, you're this, oh my God, you know, the prettiest girl in the bar or whatever. It's weird, right?
You know what it really is when you don't know your value, when you haven't really internalized your value and like believe in it, you're looking for it outside yourself, from your job, from other people, especially women, right? So what I was trying to say was, whenever you approach a woman, I'm not trying to get it to go well, meaning as in your approval or disapproval is not going to make me think differently about me. I already accept and validate myself, right? So it's that self-esteem. So if you resonate with me, oh, gravy, we can, do something. If you don't, fantastic. Let me turn to my right and say hi to you. For real,
And then that's where I feel is, well, especially me, 22-year-old Danny, 20 years ago, walking around Boston, walking around New York City, because I grew up on Long Island. All my whole family's down there. Oh man, I walk into a bar wearing my Legend of Zelda t-shirt and silver chain, thinking, oh my God, no girl is gonna want to talk to me here. No, I was starting off just with myself, just knowing, like looking in the mirror and being like, oh, there's no way I'm gonna be talking to these New York City girls or these Boston girls. Like, oh, they're too successful, they're too this. I was simping out on myself, and that is, when I look back on that, it's like shameful, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds like you were doubting yourself and you
Big
were
time.
pedestalizing them, which is the big thing.
Yeah.
And it's just, again, realizing like who they are and who you are separate things, right? You can be proud of who you are regardless of another person's situation, whether it be more accomplished, which is a very subjective thing on a side note. You know what I mean? So I think it's just a relationship with yourself. And if you really value who you are, where you've been, what you've been through, and the behaviors you've done, like even for you going through getting off the alcohol, for example, that's tremendous.
Yes.
A lot of people never accomplish that. So, okay, if a person is a doctor and you're starting your career, not saying you, but I mean like a person,
Yeah.
but I beat all these challenges that are incredibly difficult. And this person had, like, let's say no challenges, and they're a doctor. Do I value them more than me? No, I don't personally, because I think I went through all these hardships, these adversities, these challenges. I know I can do anything that I commit and set my mind to. So I believe in me. And does that make sense? So
yeah, no,
man, a woman,
and yes, that's
yeah,
perfect.
yeah, man, yeah, dude. I mean, like in Vegas, I would date girls who were like soloist for the Cirque du Soleil, or girls who own businesses and things like that, taller than me, all of it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know, I
a
love
lot
it.
of them had more money than me. It doesn't matter though, because like I always carried myself in a way where I'm like that dude. That's my thing. You know what I mean? And again, it's not like projecting bravado, but I spent so much time working on my personal relationship with myself, my self-esteem, that when I carry myself in a certain way, they're attracted to that because, man, this guy likes himself a lot. And then here's the deal. It also subcommunicates when you have that level of confidence, you're going somewhere. Because if you have confidence, you're going to want the best for yourself naturally. You know what I mean? So it's just an
Yes.
attractive quality. That's what happens. Sometimes guys will say women are hypergamous. I would say women are attracted to ambitious men. That's what I would say. Ambitious. Whether you're there or not, it's the man who believes in himself that she finds security in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see, like, and that is where I want to say, in my personal self, and then maybe a couple of friends of mine, is that whole not have, like, I was always able to talk to a girl. I was always able to, even if it was in high school, going up to like the hot girl at the cafeteria. But it was more like on the foolish side, just to say I could do it, like there was no planning, no anything. But finally, when I sat down, that's one thing I've always, when I reflect back on myself, and it's so hard, I feel like, for any dudes to like compliment themselves. But the one thing that I could say, even when I was like 16 years old, was I could hold down a conversation with a pretty girl, not so pretty girl, the president of the United States, the chancellor of Russia. Like when it's one-on-one, I could do that, and I was always good at that. But then I would try to relate that, let me go talk to a girl at a bar, or let me go talk to this girl at at the gym or whatever, and I would strike out and be like, see, this is why you can't talk to girls, see, this is why girls don't like you, this is why this is why that. And it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy where I would fail with one girl and completely minus all the conversations, all the girls I ever had relationships with, everyone, all of it would be gone because that one random girl said, no, see you later, or swiped right, and all that. It's crazy.
100%, man. Yeah. I just assume, and here's another thing, man, like when you're out campaigning. So if I do a boot camp with like a student, for example, we'll go out and we'll go to a couple of venues. We'll probably approach like 50 women. And I mean that literally. And obviously, if you're approaching 50 women, most are not going to go well, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Now, not meaning you're being dissed, but like it's just not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget this, man. And I didn't even know this until this happened. But so I took one of my students out. So check this out. So he's a 6'4" Ukrainian white man, blue eyes, tall, in shape, and he's a millionaire.
Geez, yeah, he checks all the boxes.
Exactly. So I take him out. When he starts approaching, we're in the famous Cosmo Hotel in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Starts approaching, and I'm watching him. His hands are shaking like a little bit, just like, you know what I mean?
The nervousness.
He's like visibly nervous. He's visibly nervous, and he leaves the set, comes back to me. He goes, I'm like, how'd that go? He goes, they said this and that. And I was like, all right, cool. I cut him off. Cool. Approach them. Goes, approaches, comes back. How'd that go? Over and over. The next day, we did our infield report. And I'm like, what'd you think about last night? He goes, the main takeaway was, it was like when I would approach a set of girls and it didn't go well, it was like your reaction was like you didn't care and it didn't happen. And I'm like, you're a fucking 100% right. Who gives a fuck? Like, you know what I mean?
And then that is the key. No, that is the key, because so many guys give a fuck, like I gave a fuck. I know a lot of my friends give a fuck, or they get mad at the female race because this one girl at this random bar in downtown New York, downtown Manhattan, downtown Boston said no. And then it's like, oh, that's it. Girls suck, and it's swallowing the red pills by the handful.
Another saying, man, I'm not for every woman and not every woman is for me. It's just that simple. So I'm not trying to go out here. Like whenever I say go meet women, I'm not saying go get a woman to like you. I'm saying go find a woman who likes you. Very different. So if I get into an interaction, bro, I'm not trying to say interesting lines and ask interesting questions and do magic tricks. And I'm not doing all that. Like, hey, excuse me, I thought you looked nice. Wanted to give you that compliment. Oh, if she smiles. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, my name is Kameron of my crew. What's your name? Alicia. Oh, what you doing out tonight? If you want to engage, we can engage. If you don't, I don't care. Like, it's fine. Hey, listen, anyway, wanted to give you the compliment. Have a great night.
Yeah, see, like, and actually, this is a perfect setup for the next video I have, and this is one of my favorites because of the backdrop. This backdrop's so pimp, but it's right up there. I actually have it labeled as compliment thing. So let's see what the deal.
Oh shit! Hey, you that guy from TikTok, right? Your name Cam, is it?
Yeah, I'm Cam. What's going on, bro?
Hey, bro, I got a question for you. You that dating coach, right?
Oh, yes, I am, man.
Yeah, I got a question for you. Appreciate it, man.
What's your name, Blair?
Hey, my name's Charles, bro.
Charles. Nice to meet you, Kameron Devon crew.
Nice to meet you, bro.
What question do you have, man?
Yeah, man. Hey, so I just got out of a relationship relationship that was 3 years.
Right.
And previous to that, I got up a 6-year relationship. I'm out here in the dating market today. I see some pretty ladies. I approach them, but I want to let them know that they're kind of beautiful. They look good, but sometimes it's a hit or miss. So what I want to know is, how can I get out here, be consistent, make, I don't want it to feel awkward when I'm talking to
How
her.
can you let the woman know she's attractive without being odd about it, right?
Exactly.
That's a very good question, man. Basically, you want to be a smooth operator. And there's a couple of things you need to internalize. Number one, you need to understand that when it comes to making women feel good, it's all about being charming. And being charming means that when you feel good, the way you feel will transfer onto the woman. It's called the law of state transference. The way you feel, other people are going to feel that and reflect it back to you. So the first thing you have to do is work on your self-development. You have to be confident, and you have to get rid of self-doubt. You can't be insecure. When you see the woman, you can't have any hesitation. If you think she's beautiful, you can't let the thoughts of insecurity flood your mind and make you think, oh, I can't approach her because she might have a man. She might not like me. I might not be tall enough. I might not have enough money. You have to go in, and the second rule is you have to have congruence in your intention, clarity of your intention. So if your intention is to go up and let a woman know that she's beautiful and you're interested in possibly getting to know her further, you can't combobulate that with all of your insecurities and your doubts. So when you walk up to the woman, you have to have solid eye contact. You have to know what you think about her, and you have to let that express freely from yourself. Now, what it comes down to when you're actually speaking to the woman is you need to give her compliments, because a lot of guys think that if you go up and act like you're not interested, it'll make the woman want to chase you. And that will with women who have low self-esteem. But I don't want a woman who has low self-esteem. I want a woman who thinks highly of herself. And this is where it gets real deep in the game, player. You need to compliment women and notice things about them that are not obvious. So you have to pay attention to the more subtle details of a woman. What kind of shoes does she have on? What kind of bracelet does she have? What kind of rings? Is there sentimental value in what she's adornishing on her body? And then when you're speaking to her and getting to know her, you need to look inside of her and understand who she is. The best gift that any man can offer a woman is seeing her. All women want to be seen because women are liked. They want to be seen externally, which is what most guys do. They know she has a fat ass. They know she has nice titties. They know she has a nice face. But is the man seeing who she really is on the inside? Every woman has a unique feminine energy that's her gift to the world that separates her from all other women. So when you can really analyze a woman, look inside of her and understand who she is, and understand the qualities that she has that she can offer you for inspiration, for motivation, for nurturing, for feedback, then that is how the woman will appreciate you, because you can see who she really is. I know that was a lot, man. It was a little philosophical, but does that make any kind of sense?
That makes perfect sense, bro. Appreciate it.
All right, bro.
You got so deep in that, and that's what I loved about that one video. Obviously, the backdrop of the Vegas skyline and is just pimp, but the being able to channel, she's not just a hot girl. Compliment those little details, nice shoes, or something about her hair. That's where the whole charisma thing comes in, right?
Yeah,
It's
my
not
OG
just
taught
like
me,
one size fits all.
Yeah, my OG taught me that the greatest gift you can offer a woman is to see her, right? And a lot of guys don't understand that, because what happens is this: guys, whenever they see a woman, they're fixated on what they want from the woman. So I want to hit that ass. I want to, get in between them cheeks. I want to feel the breast, all that kind of stuff, right? I want to have her on my arm to show off. But what a woman is looking for is to be acknowledged for her feminine energy, the energy that she could bring to you that would enliven you, and the qualities inside of her, that who she is as a person. And the difference between men and women is a man might get acknowledged for his, who he is as a man, like his character, but a women almost never get acknowledged for who they are as a person, their character, their personality, their attributes. It just stops right there at how they look. Now, a lot of women, it's their fault because of the way that they dress and present themselves.
Unfortunately,
But man,
fortunately for us, but
we have a saying in the game: the way you get a woman is to penetrate her mind, penetrate her heart, and then penetrate her sexually.
Mhm.
Because if you get her mind and you can get her heart, her emotions, her love, you get everything else. You get her submission, you get her good deeds, her favor, you get her loyalty. See, guys go for the sex and then try to get the rest. It doesn't work
Yes,
like that.
yes.
It does not work like that. I want a woman to be in love with me. If you get a woman to be in love with you, that is how you get everything that you want in a successful relationship. But I'm not really tripping off the sex. If she's in love with me, I'll get the sex. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
And
true. Yeah.
and okay, let's go on a tangent. What
Yes, of course.
value does what value does sex really bring to a man?
Just getting that nut off, and like feeling good for that night, I guess, is like the rigid way to say it, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean that's basically masturbation minus bragging points for telling your friends, "Oh, I hooked up
Yeah.
with this chick." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and which
so
as a 40 to 41-year-old man, like that doesn't even count it. It's like, oh, you got laid, cool. Like, when you're 21, a different story. But yeah, once you get into these not elder ages, but
yeah,
older, people, it's not about just showing off. Oh yeah, I smashed that over there. It's like, oh, cool.
exactly.
All right, yeah,
Like you're still in
who
high
cares?
school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Jesus.
Now in high school they get you points, right? But
Of
we're grown
course. Of
ass men.
course.
We're
Of
grown men.
course.
We have liabilities to take care of. We have responsibilities. We have a career. I want a woman who is going to be an asset to me long term. I want a woman who can take care of the house, do certain chores, handle certain agendas and tasks that I give her, and support me in my endeavors to fulfill my mission. Have my children, and take care of my children. Right? Guys are looking for the wrong things, and then you wonder why. This is why I'm not red pill. I'm not red pill because most guys, to be honest, okay, you want to complain about gold diggers and OnlyFans models. This might be a good segue to that video, but
Yeah, I have it, and I have it
you
loaded up,
you
ready to go.
you want to complain about that stuff. But here's the deal: there were several OnlyFans models who made more money than some of the biggest names in the NBA last year. They did it off of you, motherfuckers, right? So if you
Yeah, I heard
changed
about
what
this.
you
I heard about this.
reward, it's real. If you
Yeah.
changed what you reward, the women would have to change by default because women, even in that scenario, she can be a multimillionaire off the back of men. So they're still dependent on men. They
Hmm.
still need men. But the thing is, we are leading them in that manner. So I think men should change their mindset, the way they behave, and what they require from women to give them reward. And then we can change women. But if you want to complain about women, look in the mirror first, see what you're doing, maybe change that collectively as men. You know what I mean?
And that is one of the big issues that I see with the red pill, because like I said, I follow your content. I also follow other people, other dating coaches content, that whether it be on Instagram or TikTok. And one of the going themes you hear a lot of, I don't hear it on your side because I don't think you ever get this lewd, but others like, oh, like, you got to stop the masturbation, you got to stop, the OnlyFans, you got to stop this, you got to stop that. um I think that is where that resentment comes from, because like, like a guy will watch a girl get plowed out by some dude on that. It affects their mindset in the real world, and like, they say scientifically, they say it's healthy to do your thing. But is there where is that line where a guy, where if a client came up to you and said that, where is that line?
Yeah. So okay. This is one of the things I'm a little disconnected from because I've actually, and I'm not making this up. I've never
Good for
because my
you.
dad used to watch it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen it before. My dad used to watch it, so I walked in on it when I was like a kid, and that really
Mhm.
put a really disgusting taste in my mouth. I was like
Oh,
6. You know what I
good,
mean?
good.
So
No, that's
I
really
saw
see,
like,
I'm the complete
yeah, yeah,
opposite. My friend's family owned a rental video store that had one of those black curtains. So when we were like, and then went out of business when the Blockbuster came into town. So guess what? Us as 12 and 13-year-olds
yeah,
had
yeah, yeah, yeah,
access
yeah,
to under his
yeah,
stairs.
yeah,
The worst of the worst,
yeah,
bro.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I can tell you this though. Every single student who's ever been in my program had a problem. That's like a
Yes.
common like theme of why they joined.
No, 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 but it's something you hear a lot on the internet. It's something you hear a lot on the
oh,
internet.
it's a big deal, dude. I mean, it's a huge industry. So most guys are doing it, but I don't look down on it in any way. But I would say, fuck, man, it's hard for me to talk about something I have no experience in. But from what I have heard with
From
my
your clients, like how do you turn
from
that around?
correct, yeah, it's I think the number one thing that they do to break that addiction or to detach from it is literally just start going out. But here's the tricky part with that I've heard. I've heard that like when you go out and start talking to women, when you've been watching a lot of there's like a disassociation. Like you almost can't connect with a woman because you're so used to how you've been experiencing like sex. Is that a thing,
Mhm.
or I
I
don't
think
know, but
so,
like
yeah. No, like, I think not for me personally, like I said, I've always
yeah,
been able to do the conversation, I've always been able to do that, but I feel it's, almost like, "Oh, it was so easy for the," it, even though it's all acted out and all anything like that. But then they take that, it's
right.
like, why isn't it easy for me?
Mm,
Why can't
mm,
I smash the girl that delivered
mm,
the pizza to my
mm,
house? Stuff like
yeah,
that doesn't happen in real life. And I think there is that obsession with it, and especially, and I love my gamers to death. I have a lot of friends who like do the video game thing. But when you go from, living in this fantasy world of, X, Y, X
mm,
square
mm,
triangle, building up, your big, game of, like, whatever, Game of Thrones, whatever video game is huge, that you built up your own character, you're living in a fantasy world. And then from there you go and, you go to the websites and, you do your own thing, as they said in that Chris Farley movie, Joining the Yankees. Like, it's that, I feel like that is the mindset that rolls into that. Like, I could
yeah.
do so well in my fantasy worlds. Why doesn't that relate to real life? Fuck, screw it. I don't
Yeah.
want to be real life anymore.
Okay, okay. I can give a better answer now. Okay, okay. That
Okay,
makes a lot
perfect.
of sense. I'm glad you said that. Okay, so what it basically is instant gratification versus the reality of what it takes to get results. So
Yes.
here's
Instant
something I
gratification.
don't talk a lot about in my like reels because they're short.
Mhm.
Dude, getting results in the game the way that like a game purist like me would do it is you got to have a self-development routine. You have to work on your mindset, get your value, your sense of self-worth as a man. You got to get that on point. That's work, by the way. That's journaling, that's reflection, that is meditation, that is taking care of your mind and your body, right? To get yourself to where you feel really good about yourself when you look in the mirror and when you just as you walk around to exude that charismatic energy. That's real work. From there, it's learning the philosophy of man to woman dynamics, polarity, what makes women attracted to men and vice versa. And how do you get a woman to
Yes.
submit? And then how do you lead her from that place? Understanding that just theoretically. And then it's learning the game itself. How do you go from open to close? Well, where do you go? And how do you go from open to close? And then how do you lead that into something more if you want to? That my average student takes at least 3 months to start really getting results, right? And it's weekly work, it is daily work, right? And it's weekly progress. But a lot of guys, if you're used to getting your rocks off from watching a video, I could understand why going through a 3 month process maybe would be daunting, right? It's like the gym. Like some people want a tummy tuck, some people can actually go to the gym and get the
Yes.
result that way. But I mean, I'm not here to sell magic pills. The truth is, 80% of the game is about you. If you're not getting the results that you want, 80% of that is about you. 20% might be how you're actually executing the game and dealing with women, right? But really, this is a you thing. So we got to change who you are and
And
transform who you are to get better results. I always say women are a mirror. So if you're getting
mhm.
certain results, by and large, You're getting a reflection of who you are. Now, aside from the women who are just trash, but you can't call all women trash. You just can't, because like
And
if
that's,
you
I think that is the mindset where I hate calling, like, dudes that aren't lucky. Let's just put it that way. And I was there,
yeah,
and in a stage of my life, I was there. I'm happily dating someone very, very, very nice now, and it's great. And it's, and you kind of simp out on the good morning text, but you're in a relationship. It's what happens.
yeah, that's a good thing. Charming.
However, as a single, yeah, and as a single dude though, as a single dude, when you're Ms. and you just, you've been rejected by whatever girls you sent out. And this was one of my plights, was, I remember, and like not having the thick skin, going on the dating sites, not even the Tinders or Bumbles, more of like the old school, like the Match.coms and the
Yeah,
eHarmonies. Like,
yeah,
remember
yeah.
those back in the day? Like, as a dude, it wasn't the swiping. You would actually sit there, get matched with like 10 girls every day, and then write emails, and then you would hope that one or two respond. And even then, with me having like the worst self-confidence and like taking every rejection personally, I still dated some really cool girls in that time. And to this day, still kind of still follow a couple on Instagram, and like, happily married, they're doing their thing. But there was a time when, as and this is the mentality that I think that kind of like that video game slash happens, is the, man, this sucks, man, this sucks, man, this, like, you just keep on being so negative on yourself because of the rejections, because of this, because of that, and that builds up, and then that taints you, that taints the whole self-confidence that you are so advocating here.
The process is the most difficult part, because, like with anything, on a side note, if I could give a man some encouragement, I would say reflect back on what it was like going through high school and secondary education, getting a job, going through your training process, really learning the ropes, getting to a point where you're comfortable. It's going to be like that with this too. It's just a process.
Hmm.
So the key is you don't beat yourself up while you're going through the process, because you are learning. Success with women is a learned and learnable skill. It is a skills game. Your height, your money, your car, your clothes, your home doesn't have that much to do with it. It's genuinely a skills game. You're learning the art of seduction, is what you're doing. You're learning how to get in a woman's mind, understand her psychological and emotional blueprint. You're learning how to satisfy, or I'm sorry, validate areas where she's satisfied. So acknowledge them. And then you're learning how to help her actually improve areas where she's dissatisfied, which will make her grateful and appreciative of you, which will then make her project lust and fantasy and desire onto you, to want you to be more in her life, because she views you as something that's an asset to
Hmm.
her, right? So it is a skills game. I can teach a man how to talk to a woman to do those things that I just stated. But again, it's like learning a language or any other skill. Give yourself time and understand it's going to take time. And when you first start, you're going to fail, right? And you're going to, not get the results that you want. And then you'll start getting progress and better reactions that kind of go nowhere, but you're not getting
Mhm.
straight up rejected. And then eventually you start doing the same things with greater success with women that like you. And then it
Mhm.
goes the distance, and then it gets crazy, man. When you get the game, I don't know if you've heard some of my stories that I've put out, but like it gets crazy.
Yeah, actually, I was watching your Instagram. You have a collection on there of your clients and like testimonials. That's the word I was looking for. And I watched
Uh-huh.
all of them actually this morning, just preparing for this. And oh, dude, all those guys, you could see, like, even the guy that you posted like in 2022 and then posted again like in 2023. Their face is different. Their face is
Yeah, yeah,
different.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
the product that you're selling, what you're doing, Mr. Cameron, is exactly, you see it, you see the change. You see the change. And the best way I could relate and describe to it is my alcoholism. I was a deep binge drinker. I was never an everyday drinker because I would still go to work. I kept my responsibilities, have a condo, I had a nice apartment in Boston for almost 10 years, 3 of those years with that girl that I lived with. I was holding it down, but yet I was drowning myself in alcohol because I essentially hated myself. Like I can't get girls, I
Yeah.
can't get this. Da, 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 da. It was always riding the pity pot, and that's what they call it in AA, is riding the pity pot, and that is reflecting negatively on yourself every single time.
Yep.
And it
Yep.
really wasn't until I sobered up. And for me, it's sobering up. Maybe other guys, it's video games. Maybe other guys, it's showering, even something simple like that. Some guys just don't do that. You hear, or unfortunately you smell dudes that like, you're just like, oh my God, maybe it's that. Maybe that's their alcoholism. Maybe that is their gaming thing. Maybe that is their hygiene thing. It starts with you, just like you said before. It's a reflection of you. And that is where I feel like a man that does what you do in helping guys, how do you approach a dude? Like, how do you tell them that's like, yo, it's your problem? Like, especially a guy that's so obsessed with that kind of red pill mentality of like, I hate girls because girls hate me.
Fantastic question. See, having game and coaching game are two different skill sets. Okay. What I tell them, so the way that I this is gonna sound strange. The way that I coach
not at all.
the way that I coach is the same way that I employ the art of seduction on women. So I don't ever, guys are like, how do you get a woman to submit? You don't. You get her to willingly choose to submit. How do I get a guy to acknowledge this is my problem and I need to commit to a path of self-development and change to get better results? You don't say that. You get them to see it. How do you do that? So I have a saying, get to know the woman as deeply as possible. What I mean by that is have your surface layer conversation. Where do you live? Where do you work? Who are your friends? What do you like to do? Blah, 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 whatever. Cool. All right.
Small talk.
And then, then get to know. So getting to know someone is three things. It's their past, their present, and their projected future. So I start with the past, obviously, and I just move through it. So where did you grow up? What was your relationship with your mother and father? Did you have any siblings? Did you have a relationship with your grandparents? What was school like? What were your ambitions and hopes and inspirations as a kid? What's the worst thing that's ever happened to you? What's the best thing that's ever happened to you in your past? Obviously, I don't ask this like an interview, okay? Obviously,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
of
just
course,
giving
okay.
it to you quickly.
Yeah.
I work it fluidly into a conversation.
Mhm.
What do you
That's the
like
best way to
most
do it.
about
That's the
your?
best way to get answers is the
Well,
conversation, not
yeah.
just a job
Well,
interview.
yeah, and you also can't. On a side note, you can't ask these questions directly. Now, these are my questions in my mind, but that's the information that I'm seeking.
Yes.
What do you like most and least about your life today? What are you most satisfied with and most dissatisfied with? If you could change anything about your career or your living situation, what would that be? Um, is there anything that you wish you could spend more time doing that you just can't find time to do? These are the things that I'm thinking about. Your future, similar questions, but about the future, right? In that, what I'm going to try and do is ask a question. So when this happened and you felt that way about it, and then it caused you to go down this path, do you think there's a way that you could have looked at that differently that would have sent you down a different, more favorable path? Do you see what I'm saying? Now, this is
Perspective,
kind of
right?
a, yeah, well, it's exactly, because people don't understand you're not a product of what happened to you. You're a product of how you perceived what happened to you, how you
Mhm.
internalized it. So if you can get somebody to look at something differently, on a positive note, then you can get them to, like, that reframe can actually get them to feel differently about it and make different choices and behavior patterns moving forward. So I think your original question was like if the guy is like in that rut of,
Yeah, in
what
that
was it again?
pity pot where like where it's more
Yeah,
like where like the dude's like, I can't get girls because of this and because of that, and it's all their fault. It's all their fault. There's no,
yeah,
as my man Jocko Wilco says, there's no extreme ownership to it. There's
yeah,
not,
yeah.
girls don't like me. It's not I can't get girls to like me. It's that dynamic. It's like they're blaming the world. How do you shift that in like
Yep,
someone
yep.
that is kind of miserable, a man that's
Yeah,
miserable, shall I say.
same process. I mean, well, when you weren't getting women in this period that you're talking about,
Yes.
why do you think women weren't attracted to you? Because
100%. I
women
was
are. Well, not you.
loud,
Well, I
drunk.
mean, I
Oh,
can
no,
ask
me.
you.
Okay, anyway.
I
Oh,
can ask
anyway.
you.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
would ask
I
you.
thought you were. No, no, no. It's
Well,
all good.
I mean,
It's good.
we could do it. We could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but really what it was for me, and just you could use this as an
yeah,
example or go wherever with it.
yeah.
But yeah, with
Perfect.
me, I was just loud and embarrassing at the bar. I was that drunk. I was Homer Simpson, or even worse, I was Barney, the other drunk guy in The
Yeah.
Simpsons. Like I was that guy. And or I'd be talking to a girl and then randomly burp. I remember that was like a big one. I would even laugh at myself, like thinking like, oh my God, how are you not making it, Sahara Desert down there by doing that, and that was my problem. But then I would go home and be like, I talked to like 5, 6 girls and none of them got my number, or I would just be hungover and kind of forget the next morning and then just be miserable
Yeah.
anyway watching football on Sunday. So that is
Yeah.
that would be my thing, and when I in my use that as you want, but
And Danny,
yeah, that's what
why why was that happening?
I hated myself. And this is what you talk about in your videos too. I was swallowing everything bad that was happening, whether it be not paying a bill on time or this or a friend not treating me in a right way. Everything was it was never my fault. It was I'm the cool guy. I'm the best. Why don't people like me? Not realizing that I was that drunk guy. I was that loud,
Right,
obnoxious
right.
guy, especially because that was my going out. My going out was going and getting drunk and then hopefully getting a girl. It wasn't
And
until
then
I
and
would
then
rein that in.
so you hated yourself because the alcohol created negative
Big time.
situations.
Big time. Yes.
Why did you get into the alcohol?
It was an escape. It was an escape from that mental of I suck. The world hates me. I'll never get a girl, and I'm gonna be living by myself for the rest of my life. So to stop that overthinking, that
Yeah.
horrific decline of overthinking, I would get drunk, and that would make me fake happy, or that would make me forget,
Kind of
not
at least
knowing
numb
that
the
I was
emotions.
destroying myself. Yes, that was destroying myself by
But
doing that.
why did you feel like that was going to be your path anyway though? Like how did that even happen?
I think after that 2013 time when I ended that relationship with that quote
Uh
unquote super hot girl, I'll never get a girl like her again. And it was and this is what I in psychology that he always calls it the self-fulfilling prophecy. I think, well, I'm never gonna get a girl like that, so watch me not get a girl like that.
I'm gonna fast forward the process.
Yes.
What All right, Danny, you're a good-looking, intelligent dude, okay?
Thank you, thank
You
you.
have charisma, you have enthusiasm, you have a personality. What happened, man? Like how did you even end up in a place to where you're a grown man with an education and a career and you think you can't get a woman? I mean, how did that even happen? Like what happened?
I do think it was that loss of confidence, that loss of no, not even loss. It was more a gaining of failure mentality and not taking responsibility for it. I can't get girls because girls suck. Almost on that red pill type, before the red pill was a
But
red
where
pill type
where
thing.
did that mentality come from? And how did it start, if that makes sense?
All right. Then we're gonna analyze deep here. What we're gonna do here is going back to my father. My father I love my father to death. He was a great dude. He worked hard. He was a custodian and got us, me and my sisters, all throughout 4 years of college. We took out student loans and stuff, but he even though he was cleaning toilets, as he would always say, he would be like, I don't want this for you. So he was that's the good side. The bad side is everything was a criticism. Like if I didn't want to help him out with the car, I would be, an FA, at the F word in Spanish. Maricon. I could say that by then YouTube might not catch that. If I was crying about something, don't cry, men don't cry. Like that tough kind of like immigrant mentality of you can't show your emotions, you can't be this, you can't be that. And it was a bashing. And what my psychologist and this was something even reigned in a few years ago, is that is the voice that I hear when I'm self-doubting myself. When I am self-doubting myself, I am saying to myself, you're you're an F word, you're not good enough, you can't cry about this because it makes you look weak, and that's why you can't get girls, because you're weak. And you're sitting there, and it was like my dad's voice, that criticism voice. And yes, it was in real life, maybe he might have been like that 25% of the time. 75% of it was great, but once again, I would concentrate on that negative point. And I really do feel that that is the voice that translated when I was having such a hard time drinking. It was really that. It was that
Why
voice that.
why do you think it impacted you so deeply?
I think it would probably go to, I want to impress my dad. I want him to say good job. And those came on a rare. They would come, but it would be on, like, when I scored a goal in a soccer game, or I got 100 on a test. Like, I would have to do the big thing to get a compliment from him, and it was almost like fishing for the compliment.
And I'm gonna ask you two more questions.
Yeah, keep going,
Um,
man. It's all good.
yeah,
Open
yeah.
book.
Why do you? Okay, I understand that. I'm not trying to ask a stupid question. Okay,
No,
but
of course.
at that time when you were a kid and that was happening, um, how do you think you at that age, not you today looking back on it, but you at that age, how do you think you felt about it at that age?
I felt horrible about it. Yeah, I would. Oh, I would lead to crying, and then him telling me, "Men, don't cry. Don't do that. Don't do that. Be tougher. Be this. Be that." And yeah, that's where it came from. That was like the criticized, get upset about it, and then get chastised for getting upset about it.
When you were that age, did you think that you did? When you were that age, is the
Mhm.
prefix? Did you think that you deserved that when you were that age?
At
Not
that age,
reflecting on it.
probably, yeah. No,
Yeah.
no. I think at that age, I probably, because I was
Do
crying, or
do you?
I did not want to do.
Yeah. So you didn't feel like a victim. You thought there's something I'm not doing. I'm not doing something to actually earn my father's approval. If you were a child, I don't know how old you were, but if you were a child and that was happening, and you were internalizing that, do you see how that could impact your psychology and your sense of self-worth in general, even as an adult? That you have to do certain things in order to just not get mistreated.
Yes, 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 yes. That's exactly it.
So
Analyzed.
so people would never notice about me, but anyway, we can move on. I want to be like a soapbox, but
No,
when
no,
I
no, no.
work
Of
with my
course.
students, it's a lot of conversations like this, like figuring out what were the points that the things that happened in the past. And the thing that people don't understand is it's not just understanding, oh, my dad yelled at me. It's not understanding that. It's understanding how the little you internalized it and made sense of it.
Mhm.
And then looking at that and being like, okay, when I was 8, I thought like this, and I've been carrying that thought process for a certain amount of time. You can't undo the past, but what you can do is acknowledge. I think the acknowledgement actually is like 80% of the work, and
Yeah.
then from there, you consciously develop a different strategy of thinking, right? So that you can move forward for you to feel the best about yourself, to be the
Mhm.
most empowered that you can. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, it's just
Yeah.
real deep shit. Like people think I get guys on my program and like teach them all about how to like
Yeah. Yeah. What is it? The pickup
hook up.
artist style. Yeah. Like.
Yeah, bro, I'm not a pickup artist, homie. Even though I'm better than most of them, I'm not a pickup
No,
artist.
no,
But
and that's the thing, is you are just, not just because I have you on the show. Like, there's a reason why I stayed on your TikTok. I told you this
yeah,
in the phone call we had before. I in my algorithm for almost 2 years, it was always getting those TikToks of like different dating, and it was always yours that connected with me, because you got so deep, just the way you just did in the last like 6 minutes. That you would do that in your videos, and it was in generalizations, but it was there. Like, that is where I feel like, well, I call it in AA, we call it the step 4, is reflecting on yourself and seeing what did I do wrong? What behaviors did I do when I was drunk, when I was this, or gambling, smoking cigarette, whatever your addiction is. That step 4 is like a self-reflection, is like, what problems did I cause, and how can I take responsibility for that? And I remember even
yeah.
my AA sponsor saying, like, you can't go on an apology tour. The only way you change to change the way that people think about you is by changing your behaviors. And I think that relates
Mhm.
to dating too. Like, you
And
can't be the smelly
understanding
guy.
and understanding why you behave that way.
Yes, yes, and that
Right.
is the
Because
big.
you're
That's like
not going to
the
use,
ownership.
and this is the thing, like, this is why I don't judge people. Because, like, if you're on drugs or if you do this or that, or like whatever you do, if you have an anger problem, if you're violent, I don't judge you because there's a reason you're behaving that way. You probably don't
Yes.
understand it. And here's the deal. I don't think many people want to be bad. Like most people want to be the best version of themselves, but there's things in their psychology that they don't understand that are driving them. And if you understand it, you can get a lot of power over that thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Yes.
that, I just fell in love with psychology. Really, is my true passion is
Mhm.
psychology. Yeah, I was abused, poverty, Section 8 housing, food stamps,
Yes, 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 yes.
childhood abandonment, neglect, all that kind of stuff. I was a fucked up
I think
kid,
I saw that
for
video where
real.
you talked about that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
I do.
yeah,
I kind of
yeah.
remember you posted that. Yeah.
Dude, I got into this to work on me. Right? I never thought I was going to be a coach, and then as I as I went through my journey, I just wanted happiness for me, and I got it. And then people around me started wanting, like, asking me questions, basically, and then that graduated into me, like, you know what? Let me maybe make some videos about it, and then you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And one thing led to another, and yeah. But
Yeah, and you're successful in getting the men out of that rut, out of that why me? Because and the yeah buts. I feel like the yeah buts are the big one. It's like, well, you're a good looking guy, you're smart, you're an IT guy, you're this. Yeah, but I'm not getting any girls. Yeah, but I smell. Yeah, but the girl rejected me over there. And they concentrate on that, or they're like, yeah, but I'm short, and that's why girls like they find like almost like a thing that's intangible that and they dwell on that. Like I love all my friends to death, but there are a couple of dudes that where they would go to a girl, talk to her, hey, you want to drink, hey, you want to drink, no science or no charisma to it. It was just like, and then everyone knew that there was a bad approach, and then he would get upset about it. It's like everybody else sees it, everybody else kind of tells you, but there's still like the stubbornness is like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do. And I feel like that is where I would direct the guy to you, because they need to work on that. That is, I think, one of the hardest things for a dude is the stubbornness. And like I'm always open, but it's like a dude not being able to take that responsibility, that personal responsibility of being like, maybe my approach is bad, or maybe I'm not dressed as nice. It's not your height. It's not your bank account. It's not the Toyota Camry. It's none of that. And that is what I feel you do so well at that. Letting dudes take that ownership. It's like, dude, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with what's going on inside of you, and that
100%.
self-reflection that you said, the mirror of the girl.
Yeah, man. It's self accountability, man, and understanding that you are the the product of all of your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. I mean, that's just what it is. And I could more easily sell you a Maybach than I could sell you a course on self development. you know?
Oh man, $100,000 car, and it's nuts because it's like it's self-esteem. It's a lot of low self-esteem and stuff like that. But I feel like
Exactly.
the red pill, especially, or like other dating guys that I follow, like when they're talking about their stuff and they're sitting there being like, you need to be in the gym 3 hours a day, and you need to eat right, and da da da, and get off the video. Like they're screaming at these dudes that are probably like insecure in the first place. That's why your delivery is so different. And so I feel like, that's the reason why you get a million views. And those guys, don't, I mean, we don't do it by views, but you're connecting in a better way than a red pill dating coach does. And I hate to generalize the red pill, but you've seen them. You've seen those guys that are like yelling at like their clients and being like, or yelling at their IG
Degrading them. Yeah.
followers. Yeah, exactly.
Berating
Boom.
them, degrading them.
Perfect word.
Yeah.
Perfect word. Degrading. Yes. That's not the right approach. That's not the right approach at all.
Well, it's not going to help somebody who has a low self esteem. I mean, you already have a low self esteem. Beating you up more is not going to, like, if someone's suffering from bullying them more is not going to help the person.
Yeah.
It's just it doesn't make any sense, right?
No, not
but
at all.
a lot of people in the space, and I don't want to talk too much about this because I don't really care that much, but a lot of people in this space, they're really here for egotistical gratification and to be that dude, like the validation of being big. I genuinely got into this to help people that were like me.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And that's all I ever wanted. Like, I feel like God blessed me with certain opportunities that helped me go down a path that changed my life and saved my life. And if any amount that I can actually turn back and spread the message and any information that helped me become happy and get out of depression and get out of anger and get out of the things that were going to ruin my life, it makes me very happy to do so. So I try to break it down as thoroughly as possible to genuinely help somebody take the information and apply it. And I don't really care as much about the marketing hooks and like this is what gets you, marketing shit. You know what I mean? I just like to give information that I think would actually be useful to somebody who's not in a good situation. That's my
Yeah,
goal. If I achieve
and
that,
that's your
then
connection. Yeah, and that's your connection with, at least with me. And I speak personally, and obviously you have a lot of followers, and you have your clientele. But that is the connection. That is the difference. That's really when when I planned this, I was like, this is going to be great because you're not that typical. You're doing it for love, and it's not doing it for hits. It's not doing it to be controversial. You
yeah,
want to help people. And that in itself is so genuine, man. And I have to thank you for that. I really do have to thank you for that because that is an approach that most of the, and I know you say you don't want to talk about, but most of the people that are doing what you're doing, I feel like go the opposite. It's like that's not there. And then like I said, that's for
yeah.
the
We'll just
clicks.
whatever
That's all.
gets views, whatever gets leads.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. Or on the, and this would be one of my last points because I know you're a busy man. I did want to talk to you about the putting the blame on the girls now because let's flip it on the other side. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there is that personality of girl, unfortunately, just like dudes, but there are rotten souls, or whatever you want to call it, tainted souls, who are out to marry that rich guy for the Bugatti, like you said before, or the girl that wants to be, that wants the $3,000 allowance, and stuff like that, and dudes fall for them, like there is. However, a regular dude, they could fall into that trap. So that gold digging style, yes, that gold digging style. So this is one of your most successful videos, and I want to because I feel like you're gonna have a good amount to talk about. This is this one video here. I'm gonna add it to the stage right now.
Hey Cam,
What's going on?
I have a question for you. Do you have a second?
Absolutely. Have a seat right there, love.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, what's your question?
All right, so I'm a young, single, attractive woman.
Okay.
And I have a lot of successful male friends. And so my girlfriends, they also have a lot of successful men in their lives, except I see them going on yacht parties and things like that. And I want to experience the lifestyle that they do with the network of men that I have in my life. So what do you recommend that I do?
Okay, so you're trying to get your gold digging on.
No, not necessarily gold digging.
Hear me out. So you want to use your beauty to upgrade your lifestyle through the men that you're around.
Yeah.
So that's gold digging. The first thing that I would say to you is this. You have to accept who you are. If you want to use your beauty to upgrade your life, that's gold digging. When you accept who you are and internalize that, you will excel at that. So if you want to get the results that you want, first accept who you are. The next thing I want you to realize is that you need to look the part. So you need to dress like a good investment. So you're a young woman, I can tell. If you're hanging out with some of your homegirls and they wear tennis shoes and jeans and they like to wear hoodies, you got to realize that nobody wants to go to a Honda dealership and pay Mercedes prices. So if you're trying to really get that yacht lifestyle, that penthouse lifestyle, if you're trying to get flued out and really see the world through men who are very established and successful, you need to look like the kind of purchase that their money is qualified for. Go get your dress game on point, get your heel game together, learn how to do your makeup right, get your hair popping, and carry yourself with a sense of dignity. Remember that all money is not good money, and you never compromise your sense of self-esteem, courteousness to yourself, and dignity just to get some money. And at the end of the day, you have to know that you're the prize, and you know that those men want to be with you and they want to use their money to get closer to you. So you have to hold back access to you, and the more you hold back, the more you'll get in the interim of them actually getting access to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. And also, don't be out here speaking and sounding dumb. You need to sound like a good investment, just like you look like a good investment.
Cameron is the best. It's the best, man. But let's elaborate a little bit on this. It's what happens.
Yeah.
Your client, he improved himself. He did the 90 days. He's looking great, and then an unfortunate soul like this gets a hold of him.
Yeah. So on a quick side note, that was my first video that ever went viral, right? Ever.
Really?
I did. I remember that day, man. Like after I posted it, I was like sitting in my car when I was leaving the Bellagio, which is where I was at. I start
Beautiful place,
like
beautiful place.
I start scrolling the notifications, and it was just like comments. Like I couldn't keep up with it. And then I think within like 2 or 3 days, it was like at 1 million views. And I was like, shit, it felt weird, bro. Like on a side note, I've never, I mean, it's just different getting that level of
Attention.
people's. Yeah, exactly. And then people started recognizing me like when I would go out and stuff. Anyway, I said that though to say when I recorded the video and then posted it, I was like, people are gonna hate this. You know what I mean? Because I'm giving advice to a gold digger. Like, so I'm like, people are gonna hate this video, dude. And I mean, dudes hated it. Don't get me wrong. Well, not hated it, but like dudes were mad at all the girls that were shamelessly in the comments, like trying to get more advice. How do I get more money? Where should I go? And like, I think it
And those
showed
are
a
the
lot of
tainted
guys.
souls, right? Like that's not the most correct way, or what do you think?
Let me give my opinion on it. Okay.
Yes.
So, okay. So one of my philosophies in teaching the game is I don't judge. Now I do judge personally, but like when I teach a game, I don't judge. If you tell me you have a certain goal, I will tell you how to get that goal. You know what I mean? Just based off the game. There's 3 types of women in this world. There are wives, there are sluts, and there are hoes. I have a video about this.
Yeah, I've
You should
watched
watch
it.
it on my
believe.
TikTok.
Yeah, I got it. You know.
A wife is a woman whose priority is long-term relationship, matrimony, and family. A slut is a woman whose priority is fun and pleasure. A hoe is a woman whose priority is financial gain and tangible resources. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what separates? So hoes and wives are the closest to each other. Why? Because they both require a man to actually, a relationship to achieve their end goal.
Yes.
But a wife isn't requiring a penthouse and a Mercedes. She's requiring a committed man, kids, and the bond of the family. Whereas a hoe, as long as she gets the finances, she doesn't really care if the relationship lasts. That's the biggest difference. Now, okay, anyway. So how do I want to break this down? What's happened with like social media is that so many people are looking at the Kardashians and different female rappers and all these people who portray a certain lifestyle, and then they start to covet that lifestyle and lust after that lifestyle. And I would actually say, this is one of my big theories, I think that prior to more recent years, when women didn't have the same ability to earn the same way that men do today, they had to rely on a man. Had to. It was a necessity. Today, they can make the same money, if not more, than a man. So a lot of
Very
women,
true.
and then let me even put it a little bit on the men. A lot of men don't really know how to relate with women, right? Outside of just paying bills, they don't understand how to actually connect emotionally. A lot of men are emotionally unintelligent. So a woman is like, well, why would I want to be with this man when I can pay my own bills? I don't feel an emotional connection with him. So if I am going to be with a man, he better be a top tier man. He better do something for me I can't do for myself. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yes, of course, of course.
I think some of them are tainted, like use that word, but I think some of them just genuinely don't see the point, because why be with a partner that you don't even have a connection with? So if I am going to go that route, at least let it be someone who can upgrade me and do things for me that I can't do for myself. Right? Does that make sense? So, but now I say that because I say that because when you understand emotional intelligence, it's not the story. It is not the story. Like when I lived in Las Vegas, I lived in a high rise and I had like Audi, BMW, whatever, whatever, right? And there's all these girls who lived in the high rise with me, um, that were like OnlyFans models, strippers, shit like that. Super
Mm-hmm.
physical, super physically attractive, right?
Yes, yes.
And like I never offered them anything ever, but I am so cool. I mean, like, and I know how to like have a conversation with you. And I'm not like, hey, come in the garage and see my BMW. I'm like just getting to know the girls. And like they all were down or at least wanted to hang out with me. You know what I mean? And that's always been my experience, understanding how the game should actually go and in getting to know a woman and getting connected with a woman. So I think when you actually have that level of understanding, that gold digging shit does go out the window. Unless the woman is like for real about her money. There are some
Mm-hmm.
women that are just genuinely all I care about is like how much money I get. That is not as many women as you would think. And I think a lot of guys would have different experiences, if they understood women better. Now, the women who do go that route, though, don't get me wrong, that is not a wife. Like, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I would have ever like date one of those girls
Mm-hmm.
who wanted to hook up with me. If you're an OF model, you're not a wife, straight up and down. But those girls will still cooperate with you if you have game. You feel what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
at the
Yes,
end
I
of the
do.
day, again, so let me tell you something else. So like my OG was like, um, a PI, if you know what that means.
Like private
He
investigator or
a PIMP,
oh,
a PIMP. Yeah, yeah,
okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
a
Oh, okay.
PIMP.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
right,
Yes,
right.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I thought you
yeah.
said
Not that
PIP, and I was like,
I wasn't, but he was. So he
yes.
taught me a lot about that life. Anyway, one thing when they have their women who work for them, um, they would always talk trash about the guys who paid them. We call them tricks in the game.
Yes, of
They would
course. Yeah,
talk
the
trash
Johns.
about him. Like they look down on them. They don't respect them. They resent them. The reason they resent them is because the guys have so little self-esteem and they value themselves so little and they don't have any self-respect. And then they want to pay for a girl who's out of their league in the guy's mind, out of their league.
Yeah.
That the girl feels like she's doing you a favor and it makes her feel disgusted because of like the way you're making her feel like she's doing you a favor.
Mm.
Whereas the PI, like he feels like the only way you, the woman, can mess with me is you got to bring something to the table, or you're not even worth my time. So if you want my
Mhm.
time, bring me something. And then the
It's
woman
transactional.
respects him. Well, the woman respects him because of the requirement. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Oh, yes, 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 yes,
So it's
yes, yes.
just a psychological dynamic. You know what I mean?
And that's where it's
And check this out. One
that
more
is
thing.
the
One more thing.
yeah. Oh,
Not to cut you off, but remember
no, no,
this.
no, no, don't feel free.
Yeah. The person, just psychologically speaking, the person who is compensating is always going to feel that what they're compensating for is on a pedestal and has value. That's how business and sales and marketing and ads and everything works, and the game itself. So when guys are
Mhm.
like offering a woman a bunch of things for her time, attention, energy, well, you're making her, okay? It's not even her fault. You're making her feel like she's on a pedestal and you're down here. That's why you're compensating. So the best way that you can enter a relationship is at least neutrally. We want to spend time together because we like each other.
And this is where one of the last questions I want to ask is, do you think, by just statistics of what you know and what you've experienced,
Yeah.
especially living in Vegas, I love Vegas to death. Um, do you feel the majority of men, not women now, let's flip it back to the male population, is there a small proportion of dudes that could be like you? Or do you feel what you do, because I no, air up your own horn. I think you're a very cool, very you're suave. You do your thing and you do it so well. But do you think
Thank you.
that like it is there nature versus nurture? Like, can you really, if a guy is there ever a guy that's too far gone where you wouldn't be able to help him? And that's like, and I'm not saying like, like a difficult client or anything like that, where it's just not there. Do you think that, like, almost what they call them, like NPCs, not playable character, like,
Yeah,
is
incels.
that, is there a way, or is that just, are they too far gone? Can an incel turn into a Cameron Devon crew?
Yeah. I didn't always have results with women. So I actually was a really, you got to remember, man, like I was abused, all that. I had major
Yes,
self-esteem. I had
of
issues
course.
and depression issues.
And I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, man. But I say that to say, like, I didn't succeed socially in general, um, in my early, well, adolescence and even like most of college. Not to say I was like on a dry spell, but yeah, I was shy, I was awkward, I was nervous, I had approach anxiety, all the same things guys experience.
Approach anxiety,
Uh,
big one.
a huge one. Well, which links back to your own insecurity. But
Hmm.
um, it was self-development, man. Self-development. It was just me changing the way that I view myself and the way that I feel about myself and the way that I think in general, that gave me the self-esteem, self-image, and confidence to actually be able to behave in ways that are bold, charismatic, enthusiastic, and in ways that are attractive. And that took time. Depending on your level, people are like, how long does it take to get results? Depends on how fucked up you are, man. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah,
might take
exactly. Oh my
years.
God, that is like the perfect
Really?
formula right there. Depends how fucked up you are.
But so to answer your question, yeah, I think I don't want to be like overly uh, idealistic. There are probably some men who could never like hit my level because my level is like ridiculous. But there are, I think every man can succeed and get results for sure. I think every man can become a player or hit what I call the apex in the game, which is all that means is your ability to create options for yourself. If you don't have any women, you know how to go out, campaign, meet women, and create attraction with a variety of women to create options so that you can make a choice. That is what I call the apex. If you can do that, you're at basically the highest level of the game. And it doesn't make
There
you a
we
pimp.
go.
It don't make you all
Yeah.
that. But like, you're never gonna have to settle for a woman who's gonna mistreat you, devalue you, and drag you through the ringer and leave you down bad. If you can create options, you can always have a positive, pleasant experience with women in your dating and relationship life. And that's what I teach my students, right?
Oh
My
my
goal is
God,
not to make you a
killing.
player. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
My goal is to get you to the point to where you can actually create the options that will lead you to a woman that you actually want to choose. If you can do that, you'll have a happy dating life and relationship life. But I think every man can do it, man. You could be 5'4". I think the shortest guy in my program is like 5'5". Um, but here's the deal, him and then the guy who was 6'4", the guy who was 5'5" was getting better results than the guy who was 6'4" when he started. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Right.
It's really about the relationship the man has with himself, his confidence, his self-esteem. But guys don't want to accept that. They want to blame it on something else, but it's not
Of
the truth.
course, of course. That's the lack of self-responsibility. And I remember, as you said that
Exactly.
with the 5'4" versus 6'4", I remember the first Spider-Man, where he gets bitten by the
Yeah.
spider. Before that he was all like, like geek and all that.
Hmm.
And then finally he got bit by the spider and he's like walking tall and he's doing all that. And then Mary Jane, the girl that he loves, she was like, "Oh, I never noticed how tall you are." And he's like, "Oh, I kind of slouch." And she was like, "Don't." And then like she turns around and walks away. And it's like, it was that self-confidence that made him look taller, obviously if
Yeah.
superpowers yet or whatever, blah blah blah. It's
The
a
way,
Marvel movie. But
yeah,
that's the thing is I like, my friends make fun of me for being short, 5 foot nothing, whatever. But literally, and this is once again, like you said, like it's hard for me to be self-confident in this way. But I do get comments from females all the time being like, "You're not 5'6", and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." And they're like, "You don't look that short," and I'm like, "Thanks." Like, like it's almost because like like, no, number one, I walk tall, but it's also too my personality. It's just I don't have a short man personality. And I think that's very derived because my dad was shorter than me, but never cared about his height. Like he was always like, even though he didn't know how to speak English, he was sitting there speaking his broken English with the principals that I was getting in trouble with. He always had that weird confidence. And it's not Napoleon complex, it's not anything like that. It's more of like if you have confidence in yourself, you seem taller.
Exactly. Yeah, man. Like when people talk about being arrogant or egotistical or narcissistic, I don't resonate with that because I don't compare myself to people in general. Like I can respect you and think you're awesome and think I'm awesome, and there not be any conflict of who has more money or is taller or better looking or more jacked or whatever. Like it's not relevant. Like, so.
And I think that is where dudes get lost. Like, oh, I'm too short, or oh, this one girl called me ugly, so every girl called, like the generalizations. And I think that's where like the psychology and everything gets lost. Man, Cameron, we just went. And even with the edits, it's still going to be like 2 hours on this. Is absolutely great. I know you have family, and I just want to thank you for everything today. And also just thank you for helping me get out of that rut in 2021, 22 after that breakup, because really it was that first video that we watched that really, really was like, it's not about her. It's not her that treated me like crap. I have to look in the mirror. And now, even without the private, it was still just a wealth of information to be where I'm at now. And I want to thank you for that and be grateful for that. And the women in my life will be grateful for that too, because I know they get treated as best as they can, and not on some simp stuff either. So I have to thank you on that. Cameron, where could people find you? Where can what could they do if they want to get in touch with you?
First of all, thank you for that compliment, man. And that is literally, you have no idea how much that means. That is literally why I do it. So, I never know who it's touching, but hopefully it is. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, find me everywhere. You know what I'm saying? YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, your mama's contact address book, Kameron Devon Crew.
You are the man, Cameron. Yes. And like you said, I would love to do this again, get example. Oh, this is only the start, my man, Cameron. Thank you so much for joining me today here on Discussions.
Yeah, I'd love to come back, brother. And thank you, man. It was a pleasure. You're very professional, man. You're good at what you do. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to end.